Hello and welcome to another episode of More Than a Business Live. I am your host, Mitch Case. I am also the founder of More Than a Meal, where we help organizations strengthen their most valued relationships by showing gratitude or appreciation one meal at a time. We are bringing live episodes every single Thursday at 3 p.m. And I'm really excited just as we continue to grow and have amazing individuals on this show. And our guest is going to be nothing short of amazing with this, and I'm really actually excited about it because we get to step back into what my former career was, into the HVAC space. But before we bring him on, I do want to say thank you to our sponsor, True Captive, who believes in healthcare that is personal and insurance that isn't complicated. So if you want to learn more about this unique captive healthcare program, just go ahead and reach out to them at truecaptive.com. If you've got questions, I can answer some of those and lead you in the right direction. But we're truly appreciative of True Captive going about doing this. So with that, our next guest on the show is actually the CFO at CFM Distributors. They are a local distributor here in the Kansas City area that really focuses on helping provide HVAC solutions to anything and everything from the construction space. I'm going to get him in here in a little bit. He can tell us a little bit more about what CFM does in a little bit, but I've gotten the privilege to get to know Mr. Ryan Martin over the last couple of months, and just that immediate connection on doing good things to help and improve the industry. So without further ado, I am going to bring Ryan onto the show here. So Ryan, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, really appreciate being here. It's an honor.
Yeah. I kind of mentioned just a minute ago, I'm excited to kind of dive into my previous 10 years of life before going into More Than a Meal. Before we do that though, if you are tuning in live right now, go ahead and shoot it into the comments. We get to see that there's somebody watching, but we don't know who it is or where they're watching from. So go ahead and shoot that in to the comments there. And if you have any questions as Ryan and I kind of dive into More Than a Business, shoot them in there and we'll try to get to those before the end of the show. So with that, Ryan, I always like to get this started off with an impact story. So what is something that either you or the organization CFM has done that's had a direct impact on a team member of yours that you could share with us real quick?
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you so much for having me. I love the title of the show, the name of your business, More Than a Whatever. So often it's like you just introduced me. I'm the CFO of CFM Distributors. I go to networking events. I'm the CFO, but I'm also an artist. I'm also, a musician. I'm also all these things. And so it's super cool to kind of have this idea. And I see it spreading in the Kansas City community of more than a whatever. We are an HVAC distributor, but we are more than that. We're 100% employee-owned company. I mean, literally 100% of our company is owned by the people that dedicate their lives to it every day. And it's more than just one personal impact story. It's the impact story that employee ownership journey has on our entire company. We have retirees that 5-10 years after they retire, they still come to our Christmas party. They still come to our, barbecues out back behind the building. If, Joe down in warranty is making Rubens on the Blackstone, then we have people that may not even be retirees. They just worked here for 10 years and left to go do something else. And they're
I love that.
So it's super cool to see what that employee ownership mindset can do for every individual within the company. We're not just slinging boxes. We're not just, selling HVAC equipment. We are providing and bettering the lives of every employee. And so that's a lot of fun to get to do that. And then as an extension of that, just to kind of spread the word about employee ownership within the community and honestly within the entire country. So it's just a lot of fun and an honor to be a part of a business that is run in this way.
I know that, the employee owned aspect of that is almost a benefit in and of itself within organizations. But the fact that you guys continue to have people that have been there and left or have been retired to come back and hang out down in the West Bottoms, frying up some food, I guess, is impressive. What are some of the things? And I don't want to steal the thunder of kind of our next segment on what makes it more than a business, but what do you feel like is what is causing that kind of thing? I mean, not very often people that leave an organization want to come back to hang out necessarily. So what do you have any ideas on what maybe has created some of that?
Absolutely. So, I mean, obviously you're right. For starters, employee ownership is about actual money. It's about, shares in the business, and, it's contributed by CFM distributors, by the employer or by the company, at no cost to the employees. So that's obviously the monetary side and the retirement side. But the flip side of that is we treat employees like employee owners. There's a lot of companies, some large, and I won't name names, but around town that people don't hardly know they're employee owned. Some of their employees don't know they're employee owned, and they get a stock certificate a year and a half into working there, and they're like, "Oh, I apparently own the company." We like to treat people. Yeah, we like to treat people like they're employee owners. We like to help them with, personal finances, help them with figuring out how they can better themselves and their family with education, or how to save up for a down payment on a house, or God forbid, something happens to an employee or they have a hardship of some sort. We like to help take care of them. We have a fund. We have it's called the CFM Dream Team. It's basically generally 1% of our net income goes into it. And part of that is for community charitable endeavors, and part of that is for employee assistance, whatever that may mean. If there's hardships, if there's someone's having surgery, someone's in the hospital, it's just all of that, and it's that mindset. And honestly, I mean, I'll go into it a little later, I'm sure. Because I mentioned on LinkedIn, I tend to I'll get to where I'm going, but it's not. But yeah, it's the type of thing where we just like to make sure that people are truly cared for and taken care of, and it makes it easy for people to want to stick around.
And that's going to be like a conscious effort and a decision by somebody coming and being a part of this, because employee owned, if the profit is coming into that 1%, that's 1% that they aren't necessarily receiving. And so we're choosing as an organization, as employee owners of this business, that we want to invest that into our team. And whether you are the recipient or it's somebody else, that's a unique piece of that that I hadn't necessarily thought of. And I think the employee ownership is becoming more and more popular, or as I continue to hear it over time. I have no idea if that's actually a fact or not, but I continue to hear it more often as a potential benefit. So kind of switching over to, what truly makes CFM more than a business. And I would definitely categorize, employee owned it falls into that, but let's set that aside. What do you feel? What are some of the initiatives, core values? What are some of the things that maybe they're the intangibles that truly do make CFM more than a business?
So it's an interesting concept and question. And as I was kind of spending the last couple of weeks thinking about coming on to this show, I kind of spent a lot of time thinking what truly does, because I've got talking points. I've got things that I say when I'm in groups or whatever. But when I think about what truly makes us more than a business, it's the commitment to evolving. And what I mean by that is we've been around 55 years. Like you said, we're in a building in the West Bottoms. It's 115 years old. It's an amazing building. At some point, I'd be shocked if you didn't hear either an airplane or a train or both. Just forewarning there. But
I always say everybody knows exactly what building you're in, because you can't miss that big CFM across. They're just not paying attention to it yet.
Yeah, and it's funny because I actually didn't pay much attention to it until 3 years ago when I got hired here. But yeah, so it's, for me, what makes us more than a business is embracing change, embracing moving forward, taking everything that's been amazing for 55 years and moving it forward. We just recently hired a director of people and culture. First full-time HR person in the history of the company.
Wow.
And I say HR lightly. I love the term people and culture because that's truly what it is.
Yeah.
Bringing in DEIB initiatives, you don't generally think about that stuff when you think about a 55-year-old HVAC distributor. So having the ability as a leader in the business, and I say this very humbly because it's such a team effort, but having the ability to take everything that made the business great and then move it forward. And some of the ways we're doing that, doing stuff from the ground up with trade schools. How do we promote the trades? How do we, DEI, for example, you can't complain about not enough diverse individuals as candidates if you aren't doing things on the ground floor, promoting trade schools, just promoting trade schools in general, first of all, but then entrepreneurship, trying to promote those ideas specifically to groups of diverse individuals.
Yeah.
And then ultimately becoming the type of company that everybody wants to work at, So I think that's what's cool about it. And then it goes all the way down to our customers as well. I could probably have 100 examples of how we're more than just slinging boxes of HVAC equipment, but you get to see our customers and we get to constantly evolve with them and come out with, KPI scorecards for our customers. How are you doing on your marketing? How are you doing on your bookkeeping? How are you doing on whatever? A lot of our customers are sometimes 1 or 2 or 3 person shops.
Yeah.
And to be able to talk to customers, and we've got customers now that have 30,000 square foot buildings that they've just recently built. And I'm talking to them and they're like, yeah, we got 15, 20 trucks now. We have a ton of employees. 20 years ago when we started buying from CFM, it was, my spouse and I. And they did the bookkeeping. I drove the van every day and went, and being able to see what the partnership has done over the years. Like I said, it's so much more than just selling equipment. It's helping the community build businesses and helping people to make the most out of what they can be,
There are so many things that you just said that just like light up this idea of not just words, but actions. And, having worked with CFM in the past, you talk about having diverse, workforce. Construction is primarily male. It's very heavily dominated from the male perspective. You guys are led by a woman inside your company. I think that's a great initiative that just shows like we are more than a business. We are different because we do have these initiatives. So I just think that that's really, really amazing from what you guys have done within the industry itself being male dominated. The other piece you just kind of mentioned, and it's something that I always focused on when I was in the HVAC world as well, where so often, and I don't know if this is giving away secret sauce from what made me successful in that industry, but
I'll take it if you got it.
Well, I mean, you guys have standards. Your boxes of HVAC equipment are required to perform a certain way. So is every other manufacturer. So how do we differentiate ourselves? It comes down to how we treat our customers one way or another. And you just talked about the idea of serving people beyond boxes of HVAC. How can we make sure that our customers are successful? Because maybe right now we're not the best fit for this box with this, but if we can help them with their books or get them connected with the right person do the books, that's going to differentiate me from the next time, where not that you're required to do business with us, but people tend to want to do business with those that are helping them. So I just think that's another really creative, unique way. And I've seen it from having worked with CFM with many of your team members, both current and maybe past team members, where that was always the focus. I can think of one individual in particular, Brad Telker, that I think is still over there right now. That dude just exudes, how can I truly help you? And if it's not an HVAC box, that's cool. I'm going to figure out how I can best help you. And I see that through not just words, but actions. So kudos to you guys in thinking outside the box from that perspective. Absolutely. I guess pun intended in that scenario. So awesome, man. Yeah, that just really falls right into how many organizations can truly differentiate themselves and be more than a business. All right, man. Let's transition into you.
I love me some me, so let's do it.
What is the saying? That's enough about me. What do you think about me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a chance to kind of talk about what motivates you. I recognize, and as a business owner right now, sometimes there are days where it's just hard to get out of bed sometimes because of what I know I've got to go do or personal things. Like, what continues to motivate you to truly continue on this path? You talked about continuously changing, to keep moving forward. Like, some days are not as bright as others. What's going to continue to motivate you to be there and show up for the people that you get to have the privilege to serve?
Yeah, so it's funny. I've lived a very unique, diverse life. Everything from playing rugby at KU to
Interesting.
touring around, playing music in bands in my early 20s, and going to art school and trying to be a painter and all that. And then ultimately through my career, it was become a CPA, do public practice for almost a decade, and then be in a series of pretty vastly different industries now in HVAC distribution for the last 3 years. And it's funny because I probably didn't realize it until a few years ago when I kind of had a little more wisdom and a little more gray hair, if I'm being perfectly honest. But it turned
I
out
wear a hat.
I was constantly chasing what I was doing and the what of it. But then it became clear that what I thank God I'm both good at and really enjoy is leading people, and not just leading people to success for our business, but leading people to success for themselves. And it's something that it almost feels selfish to me. I love it so much. I mean, honestly, like I have employees come in, unfortunately, just happened a month or so ago, and put in their resignation. And my first question is like, is this what's best for you and your family? Is this going to drive your life forward? And if the answer is yes, like, I'm so happy for you. I hate
Let me get out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's some amazing people, and it's like, I'm just so excited that in a lot of those cases, I've been a small part of developing that person to do better things. And obviously the first goal is to find bigger and better things here, obviously, but to see them succeed. And it's kind of like a coaching tree, to see.
I was just thinking, like, I was sitting there thinking about like Andy Reid's tree of successful coaches.
I don't know if I belong in the same sentence as that, but yes, it's the thing.
You are the Andy Reid of the HVAC.
Yeah, I got to get a new business card now, and you painted everything. But yeah, just to have that mindset, and that mindset of growing people, and good things will happen. Good things will happen in the business. You will be more profitable. Talking earlier about the CFM Dream Team and the portion of our profits that goes into charitable endeavors. Technically, you're right. It takes away from stock price. But I would bet you dollars to donuts that it adds more back into the stock price by people's attitudes, by goodwill, by all these other things. So it's like, it's just about doing good for people and leading people well, and making sure that people know they're appreciated. I can't tell you how many times I've told someone kind of casually how much I appreciate them, and they almost break down. And it's like, nobody's ever told me that before. And I'm just like, how has nobody ever told you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It is like, I had a guest on last week, and he had written a book about the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace, which closely relates to the 5 love languages. And words of affirmation is one of the highest forms of praise within that workplace. And so often we just forget. And I mean, admittedly, sometimes it's hard. You're just in this go mentality, and you forget to just slow down for 2 seconds to say, I saw what you did, and I recognize it, and I appreciate whether it's a sacrifice or the work that you did. That was just fantastic. Getting to the point of like that coaching tree and stuff, like I constantly see after doing, this is our 15th episode, and there always seems to be like this common thread, which just goes to show like why there's so many good people doing more than a business. they so often say, like, at the end of the day, like, is success defined by profit margins, or is success defined by how I've helped and led somebody? And 100% of the times, every person I've talked with is going to hang their hat up on how did I help this individual be a better person, succeed in whatever their definition of success is, because it just kind of goes to show, like, at the end of the day, like, are you going to remember the amount of money you made, or are you going to remember the experiences or the things that you've done for other people and how you made them feel? And it's an easy answer from that perspective. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And honestly, I'm so grateful to have you on this show. I think there's so much that people can learn from this. And unfortunately, we only have like 20, 25 minutes to get as many nuggets as we can from you on this. In the event that somebody wanted to dive deeper on things around leadership or opportunities to work for a company that is truly more than a business, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. It's LinkedIn. LinkedIn is gospel at this point. And just Ryan Martin CPA, I think, is my in name. But yeah, I mean, I'm easy to find.
Yeah, I'll even add, if anybody has troubles finding Ryan and you end up finding me, I'll get you connected with Ryan. Showing our appreciation, Ryan, for you spending time on here out of your day. One of the things that we get the privilege of doing is allowing you to send a meal out to a team member that you see that's deserving, whatever situation. But would you let us know maybe who you want to send that to, if you're willing to say that name, and then maybe a little reason why you would want to do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. The individual I'm about to say is actually probably going to be a little bit surprised, and I'm kind of excited about that. His name is also Ryan. So I promise that did not influence.
Is his name Ryan Martin?
No, it's not. Although there are a lot of us out there.
Yeah.
As anybody who tries to search for me on LinkedIn will soon find out. But yeah, so he's one of our IT team members, and we currently have a gap in the director of IT role that rolls up under me. And in the last 3 weeks or so, it's been amazing. I've seen the whole IT team step up in a way that, sometimes you need that kind of trial by fire to really see what people are made of. But Ryan in particular has shown me a lot, and I'm really proud of how he stepped up. And the whole team has really just taken on stuff that even they didn't know they could do. But I know he and his daughter in particular would enjoy it. And I think it'd be a nice gesture, and a gesture I certainly appreciate from you.
Yeah, well, we are honored. Excuse me, we are honored to be able to participate in that way, and it does truly give me joy to be able to help and serve not only Kansas City but the surrounding areas as well, for situations of very deserving, hardworking people like that. So, Ryan, thanks again for coming on. This is the end of the show. We're kind of wrapping up, so I'm gonna kick you aside real quick, and we'll go ahead and finish this up. So, thanks again, Ryan, for coming on. And all right, guys. Every single Thursday, we are coming to you at 3 p.m. We just have a long list of amazing individuals. We're booked out through mid-December already, and I'm just really, really excited to continue to bring this to you. And thanks again to TrueCaptive for being an amazing sponsor for this. Again, if you need to, if you want to learn more about them, just go to truecaptive.com or reach out to me, and I'd be happy to get you connected. But thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, have a wonderful day.